Good afternoon, everyone. We hereby present Team ContiBreak's card discussion on our on the latest set of top 10 G Guardians from Fighters Collection 2016. So yeah, we would like first of all we would like to give shout outs to Honors Ground for giving us cards. Also, Mr. Mike, Mr. Peter, and Mr. Jacob Games Pool via Games Pool. So starting off the top 10 list, we have your for the 10th place, very last among the 10 G Guardians that we have chosen would be Kundalini,
Giant Peacock,
Immortality Professor. Kundalini for the 10th place. So, personally for me, I've chosen Kundalini has very strong advantage for great nature, very counter blast heavy. The unflip is very essential, and the retire makes it a little bit hard to use because great nature already retires at their end phase. So yeah, I wonder if you'll have any regards after you do your big turn, so that you can choose to unflip.
We were pretty conflicted whether we'll choose Laser Guard or Kundalini for our 10th G Guardian, but we went with Kundalini instead because of the counter charge at the end of your opponent's turn. So you could just retire your Mikasaburo or your Coiling Duckbill from your previous turn.
he's also good with cards like the Professor's Stride,
Professor's Stride.
the Grade 4 Chat
Katpalog.
Katpalog. Because most of the time, if you first try with Katpalog, you won't have any CB left, and if your opponent controls so that you can't mana Garmer next turn, Kundalini is a good choice, and you can target the dead cards such as Mikasaburo or your Coiling Duckbill. That's basically vanilla there. So yeah.
That's it for number 10, Scryew.
No compliments on the art.
So we also have, we forgot to tell our criteria. So for our criteria, for the first, we prioritize utility and advantage via using the G Guardian. Our second criteria will be the flexibility of the G Guardian within its clan. So considering all the builds in that clan, if it's gonna be work for everything, it will work for everything or not. Number 3 will be the conditions that will be needed for the G Guardian to get additional shield. And the last will be the art.
So of course, who doesn't like a peacock? A peacock.
Giant Peacock.
Yeah, we chose the peacock over the dragon.
Face dragon.
So yeah, moving on, we have our 9th placer, still at the bottom 2, but still included in our top 10 of course. We with the pretty sleeves, I don't know the character.
Pink haired
So
random.
this is from Jacob or Games Pool. Deep Corpse Dragon.
Deep Corpse Dragon from Grand Blue. So we have chosen Deep Corpse at the bottom, at the top 10 because Deep Corpse, of course, fulfills the necessary requirement for Grand Blue to have cards in the drop zone. But since milling is a double-edged sword for Grand Blue, it may help in decking out or help in choosing units.
So because of its unspecific, the mill is not specific. It could either give you good units or bad units in your drop zone.
Like Mr. Gladshark said, this is a double-edged sword. So in 7C's build, this is actually a great card because most of the time you like your cards in the drop zone, and 7C's finishes the game quickly, so the deck out problem isn't that much of a problem. Plus the easy condition makes it already a 20k shield. Although I recommend using it with caution in the Nitros build because most of the time if you use it twice, you'll end up decking out.
In terms of art, for God's sake, Bushiroad, you can put a little more effort on that background right there.
But it's a dragon.
It's just literally blue.
It's a blue dragon.
Like you made it with paint. So yeah,
The artist focused on the dragon and the pirate ship. Didn't give focus on the background.
for the number 8 spot in our G Guardian list, Of course, with the best girl sleeves, matching the best girl playmat, matching best girl everywhere. Screw everyone else.
It's the best man.
The 8th placer from the Pale Moon Clan, Mr. Furnival.
Not so girl.
Furnival, focus. Focus.
Yeah.
Furnival. So yeah, that's it. We've included Furnival in top 8th place because of course with the specific soul charge Pale Moon needs to fulfill all of its costs, it's very helpful in adding more units to the soul which you can use later, especially if you're a Harry build or anything else generic. Of course, you can use it in all builds, but the downside is that the rest stay at the bottom. Well, since Pale Moon doesn't really stack that much, what's the point? So yeah, that's it.
So yeah, as a Pale Moon user, my experience is that I check the top 3, it's either Paratrooper or the Stamp Trigger to refill the soul with specific cards that I need for my combos. So yeah, just like what Gladshark said, the cards that are not soul charged will be going to the bottom of the deck, so that's pretty the bad side if there's 3 triggers or 2 triggers, 1 PG in your top. And because of that, you also don't have the option to not soul charge 1 card. That's one of the downsides of Furnival. So that's the reason why it's in our 8th slot. Slot. So yeah.
One of the reasons why this card isn't higher in our list because of, like my teammate said, it doesn't shuffle. I mean, it could probably place higher if you kind of shuffle your deck because you can like check 3 triggers and you place them on the bottom, then you would encounter several blanks already in your deck. Well, sometimes it's good because you can randomly soul charge if you're assuming, but most of the time you would just want to, after you use this card, you use some card that can shuffle your deck that can randomize it easily.
So for the art, we have a very pink Bishonen guy with a chainsaw.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Which is nice.
The face.
Not very pale moonish.
Yandere face.
It's a boy with a pink chainsaw.
So moving on to our 7th place. Thank you, Peter. And as you
Peter
can see,
Alcantara.
the sleeve is very perverted, like the person himself.
Peter Rick Alcantara of
Of
Baguio
Baguio
City.
So the 7th place coming from
Peter.
Peter's own very clan,
Coming from
Dark Irregulars, Mr.
Miss.
Agrat. Agrat's
Mahlat.
Mahlat. So yeah, for the Dark Irregulars, this could have been higher, but you know, for Dark Irregulars, Soul Charging 2 is also a double-edged sword. For of all the G Guardians,
Mahlat.
works best on a Blade Wing deck, reaching a 30k guard on its own. And of course, the Soul Charge will refill the necessary soul needed for Soul Blasting, Soul Charging, and Soul Requirement, making it easier to fulfill strides like, you know, Gilderay. So yeah.
So reactions for Agrat Mahlat. She's pretty good for any deck, Dark Irreg deck. It's either Amon, but most importantly for Blade Wing, because it refills what's lost from Tybalt. So just G-Guardian with Agrat Mahlat, then that's basically a no pass for any attack. Then Soul Blast 2 via Sullivan, then Soul Charge 2 via Agrat Mahlat. So it has potential for the incoming GBT7 Dark Irreg cards.
In my opinion, Agrat Mahlat is actually a nice card for Dark Irregulars. I mean, Soul Charging 2 for guarding is like nice. It's like you'll replace the 8k Interceptor that Soul Charges 2. Plus the easy requirements of 6 Soul to gain 5000 shield is almost no effort in Dark Irregular decks. But it, like my teammate said, it could place higher if the Soul Charge isn't so random. But most cards in Dark Irregulars actually Soul Charge is random. And it could place higher, but there are other cards, but in a different clan, like the one in Genesis, that actually Soul Charges in a more non-inconsistent way. A spoiler alert. Yeah, that's it.
So moving on to our number
Wait,
6.
wait, our art.
Ay,
Our art.
fuck the art.
you
the art.
fuck the art.
Who doesn't like a battish woman with heterochromia?
It's a succubus.
Revealing shit succubus. Basically, she's just hot and bad.
So yeah, as for me, for my personal opinion, I think it's the best art among all the G Guardians for FC 2016. Don't know with the others, but yeah.
It's a warrior type. Parang it's something you see in World of Warcraft. I like the art.
Hey, Jello.
So for the number 6 place on our top 10 G Guardians from FC 2016, we have
Our very first.
Miko Sleeves from the clan of all clans.
All
We have-
nations.
Scryew, Scryew.
Screw, whatever you pronounce it, the metal element.
Scryew.
So yeah, very generic stride right here with the discard 1 plus 10 is helpful in all situations, especially those guard restriction strides, giving you an easy 25k guard by discarding useless cards that you can't use in the
In your hand.
guard restriction. 25k guard is very important.
25k guard.
So yeah. Hey.
What? I'm just fixing.
So yeah, Kree Elemental.
So as a Palemon player, I really like Scryew because I don't really have rearguards on the field left, and you don't really use hand for. I don't really use your hand for calling rearguards. So that discard for plus 10 from plus for plus 10, giving your Vanguard a total of 36k will even out Jablo. And then you could just G Guardian again for a no pass or yeah. So Scryew. It could also help for other clans that need their drop zone. So it's pretty good for utility.
When I first saw the Kree Elemental G Guardian, it kind of reminded me the generic stuff for the extra deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Stardust and Goyo Guardian. Stuff like this is nice because you expect these kinds of cards to be dropped on you for when you attack. And yeah, these kinds of cards is what allows you to attack carefully because those power boosts that you gave to your rear guard might be extinguished by one card that discards a card for plus 10 to block your cards by discarding a card. Yeah, overall it's a nice card that gives an easy 10k shield to itself. I mean, for a heal trigger and a card, you get a 36,000k shield. For guard restrictions, this is probably the reason why guard restrictions became, I don't know, lower tier in my opinion, because of cards like these. Yeah.
So for the art, if you're a lightning guy like me, you'd like how cool and cute it is at the same time. With screw everybody.
Scryew! So it basically looks like a giant screw. Like with
It is a giant screw.
additional stuff.
Lightning shit.
So for the top 5 G Guardian of FC 216, my personal favorite would be with the very nice leaps of course.
Yeah.
Enigman Patriots.
The only good Enigman card
The only good Enigman card.
Doing like
Murica.
GBT7.
Because you know,
so far.
So,
yeah, I really like it.
so
you know.
Enigman Patriot. It's like one of the Enigman girls.
Because if you
Enigwoman.
look at the skill, it gains 5k more shield if it's like 20k or higher power. For like 20k with 19k or less power, would you really need that 5k guard? Unless you're like negative power, it won't really make a difference. Even though you haven't done anything, you have already done. It has already done its job. And of course, it guards everything, which is nice. It's really nice.
So yeah, from the requirement, you don't really have to do anything for it to gain 20k shield. So you're basically discarding 2 heal triggers for it. So yeah, it's very cheap.
Screw you.
So utility, every Dimples could use it, like even budget decks.
Screw you.
Because yeah, the easy 20k shield from not doing anything, just guarding a 20k attack is really easy. Dart is nice. Wala pa tayo.
No, nothing else I can say. An easy cost, it's like doubling the shield of your heal trigger plus activating a generation break 1 or another extra 5,000 per Blizzard. And well, my teammates basically said everything. This card is so simple that it's so nice.
And not to mention the art is very nice.
Yeah,
Look at her
robot.
deflect those laser beams.
Enigman woman.
With wings. Oh, shit. It's a robot.
It's
girl.
the good
It's like
Enigman card.
Gundam Nobel.
It's a robot, it's a girl, and it's nice. It's every man's dream.
Not my dream. I
So-
prefer a real woman.
Moving on to our number 4, as was given by Mr. Mike himself. Mr. Tier 1.
Thanks, Mr. Tier 1, for giving us this G Guardian.
It will go to charity.
We'll be keeping it. Whoever wants it, PM us.
Vanguard charity helping
kidding,
poor
of
people
course.
get their cards.
So here we have from the clan of grass and weed. 420. We have
420 Dragon.
420 dragon, rain breath dragon. Hey, focus this.
No.
It's too high.
Oh, that's too high.
Rain
Rain breath.
breath dragon. Rain breath dragon placed very high in our top. Oh shit. In our top 5 spot, in our top 10 spot, because basically it's something all Neo Nectars need. Since when you're fighting retiring decks like Kagero, which retire on the main phase, you'll be left with no units at all. And when you stride Asha, you will be able to stride nothing. And when you use Rain Breath Dragon, you may call a card from your hand to the field, which gives you an enabler for copying shit. And not to mention, it gives resist, then activates the +5. It's very nice, although it's not on the top 3 because Rain Breath basically you have to call that card from the hand. So yeah.
So it's pretty much the utility why it placed high in our top 10 because of the. You could just use it as your last guardian for that turn, just to call a unit for it to be safe for the rest of the turn. Then just copy it via additional Neo Nectar skills on your turn, which will prove deadly in Primavera Verano skills. So yeah, it's basically much your defense to prepare for your offense.
This is actually a good card. Again, with the guard restrictions, you can call a card from your hand. Like you can call a grade 2, you use it for intercept, for guard restrictions. And for utility, you can, most of the time against Kagero, like my teammate said, they have a hard time if they get a board wipe. With this card, they can actually they can call one so that during their next turn, Asha can copy something with their stride bonus. And yeah, that's an actually easy requirement, especially the resist, because one of the problems of Neo Nectar is not having any resist units at yeah, as I was saying, this card prepares your next turn, and yeah, that's basically it.
As for the art, we don't understand.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, we don't really understand.
So Shenron with
So
weed.
art was not a factor in it.
Yo, it's like a tree that grew wrong, the wrong soil, it grew inside the building or something.
The tree wanted to be a dragon.
It could be anything.
I became a tree dragon.
So that was our number 4.
And on our number 3, which we all agree is a very nice card.
Probably is like a card in every card fighter's deck.
Yeah, I would really suggest that it's a staple in all decks because it counters. Hey, wait. Let me just introduce the card first. From the clan of all clans again, we have the Dark Elemental
That smell.
Dizmel. Can you smell Dizmel? Because basically Dizmel is on the top 3 because, bruh, it counters basically a lot of decks.
Especially
Dimples, Dimension Police with the Laurel, can't hitting advantage, or Brawlers or Vermilion. Imagine guarding Vermilion, the attack of Vermilion with 2 Dizmels, you guarded the 2 rear guards and the Vanguard with a 30k shield already. and denying him of his pluses, which basically killed just Vermilion. And helps as an Oracle user, helps me protect less silent toms.
So yeah, its skill for being just for a 15k shield, it's pretty useful because of its other skill of preventing the other an rear guard to not be hit by skills or attacks. So that lasts during the rest of the turn. So you can just protect your valuable units, like for Bermuda, they're Akaris. For Nova, they're Sazandas. And yeah, it could also be your offense for your next turn. Especially if it's your first, you use your G-Garden after your opponent's road. So you're GB1, so you could just GB2 and just deal more damage because of that protected rear guard.
So yeah, Dizmel is one of the other cards that reminds me of my Yu-Gi-Oh days. It's generic, everyone can use it, and it's very flexible. I was a former Neo Nectar player, and this is probably one of the cards that it was missing. It gives one of your units resist and PG itself for the rest of the turn. It's only battle phase restricted, but rearguard reliant decks can really use this kind of cards. Bushiroad does it more. For example, the Spaghetti Monster from Link Joker mauls every field decks, so more Great Elemental protection is like a blessing to them. Plus the extra protection from your key cards such as Silent Tom from Oracle and Sazanda from Nova Grappler is a really great deal since it's like the heart of their cards.
And if you ever open a pack with Dark Elemental Dizmel on it,
you get money.
You can literally smell the salty tears of Dimension Police players everywhere.
There's a reason it's $12 card in and if you open the
So if you listen closely, you can hear their complaints. So moving on to the top 2 spot of our G-Guardian list.
The art for Dizmel. It's basically just a monster. It's
It
like
reminds me of
a ghost,
Pokemon.
a ghost Pokemon. So
It's like
it has
Espeon.
little ghost Pokemon surrounding it. Yeah, and an ant is there. Holy shit.
Sorry, my colleague,
yeah.
you're not making this list.
Can't
The
stand.
colony is not here because of
So,
it.
as I was saying, top 2 spot for our G-Guardians, and one I personally like the best after those other 2 bests would be Best Girl Sleeves, but not her. Just Anzu. I just like Anzu. I don't like Kira. Sorry if I offended everybody. Iris! Because, Iris... focus.
Ginagawa niya.
So
Iris...
ano nang pangalan nung sa ano?
Wait,
Sa
wait.
Legalia. Shiny Angel, ganun.
For a Genesis player, early guarding using unit, for Iris is a very technical card. Vanguard first tried Enabler, so charging the cards you need. With Iris, you can actually choose the guards you want to guard with first before you use the G Guardian to put them into your soul. It's very technical. It helps you in choosing what cards you can put into your soul, but better because it's specific. It's accurate. It's very helpful, advantageous. Soul Charge 3. Oh my god! And of course, Vanguard Enabler.
So yeah, it's pretty much your Hemera or your Shiny Angel for all builds of Genesis. It helps especially in the G build for Fenrir because every unit that you place that was attacked, especially for Hesperis and other rearguards that do stuff when they got soul blasted, will be like returned to the soul even if it was attacked or you just healed them off or you just guarded with it. So it's pretty useful for Melissa and those other Genesis cards that are similar to it.
The other problem with Genesis right now in the meta is because of they're back to their random soul charging. The perks of being a Regalia player is you get to actually choose what cards you have in your soul, especially in the drop zone. You don't want to choose your triggers in your deck and place them in your soul. It's like cutting off your own advantage. This card fixes the weakness of the current G builds, which is soul charging from your deck. The Amber Clone and Fenrir themselves, they actually randomly soul charge, which is double-edged sword because you can even soul charge your own trigger. That maybe you can probably heal on this turn. This card gives you your soul. It's like the regalia of the new build, and it's really consistent. That's why you place this card on top 2.
And of course the art, you can see this. Who doesn't like a heterochromic girl looking like an angel?
It's like Aqua from
So, like,
Konosuba.
rainbow goddess.
Light
Oo nga,
blue
si
hair.
Aqua.
So
It's like
nice.
Aqua from Konosuba.
Just
Aqua-sama.
very
Yes,
nice.
I can. Yeah, that girl.
Who doesn't like to worship her
So-
Megami?
Minerva. Shoutouts to Minerva.
So, Tony Taka #1.
Everybody's
And
Genesis
moving
wife.
on finally to the number 1 spot.
Sabi ko yung best girl.
And best girl.
We should have changed the sleeves actually.
no best girl sleeves for best girl.
Number 1 spot, which I think you of course can actually guess what it is
Yeah.
already.
Cover of FC 216, G-Guardian poster girl.
The clan of the time and space, and shotas that look beautiful. We have Steam Maiden Uluru
Nakazoom out ako.
from Gear Chronicle, clan of plot armor and shit. So for us, Uluru makes the number 1 because returning 1 grade 1 and grade 0, basically you just return 1 perfect guard and 1 trigger back to the deck, which is very advantageous, and not to mention it shuffles unlike other.
Hindi, bottom lang ito.
Bottom. You put them on the bottom, but shuffle enablers.
Ayun. Via time leap, you're just gonna shuffle it.
Yeah. You don't like a PG and a trigger back to your deck? Screw you.
Screw you.
So yeah, Uluru being a former gear player, with the new combo that the clan does, you can just put back the heal that you use to call on Uluru, and then return a TikTok worker or yung PG or other essential grade 2s for you to call again next turn.
Stop.
For you to call again next turn. So it doesn't just you can just use them for the next turn, but it also keeps you safe because they're on the bottom of the deck. So yeah.
When G-Guardian was introduced, discarding a heal trigger was one of the costs. At first, you can only do it 4 times, but with Uluru, you can maximize its potential because you can bring back the heal trigger that you paid for its cost, plus a random card that you may need. And like my other teammate said, it doesn't shuffle, but with your time leap shenanigans, it's actually, oh god, those phones. Yeah, glad Shark has too much to do with this life.
I have too much time.
Yeah.
So continue on, Mr. As I play with my phones.
Yeah, Uluru is one of in our opinion, the best G-Guardian in FC because of you can recycle cards in your deck. It's easy condition to gain plus 5k shield, and it's literally that easy. Like Enigman Patriot, it's simple but effective.
Gear also has other cards that face down, face up G units. So you just for example, Wiki Worker and the Colossus from the start deck. So you could just use like 6 G-Guardians in a game if the game was that long. So yeah, that was for our number 1 best girl G-Guardian.
For the art, of
So
course.
Uluru,
We
yeah,
all like
of course. Uluru, Gear's waifu, only waifu. Chronojet's waifu.
But man,
And she got old
not
in a
that
good
old.
way. So yeah, Uluru.
So that's it for our top 10 list of G-Guardians from FC 2015. If you agree, subscribe. if you don't agree, still subscribe.
So this was a pilot episode of our top 10 series that we'll be probably making in the near future. So we started off with 10 G-Guardians from FC because it's a new concept of Vanguard and it's probably making the game more dynamic, but also limiting again the clans for the meta.
Limiting the budget of the players.
So that's it. Thank you again. This is Team ContiBreak from Honors Ground Baguio. Again, shout outs to Mr. Mike,
Pedro, Peter,
Peter Rick Alcantara ng Baguio City. And Honors Ground Baguio, of course, our partner shop, our home shop, which has tourneys every day.
Our base.
Mr. Jacob Mangomok via Gabe's Pool.
Gabriel show.
Gabe's Pool.
Damn it, show to game.
So yeah, that was Team ContiBreak.
See ya!
Thank you again. Thank you very much. And that's it. Hanay Basger.